Ever since being in my new workshop, there have been a couple of comments here and there, but I'm sure more people have wondered than commented, and that is, what are these white squares on my ceiling? Hey guys, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft. That's right, today I'm going to tell you what exactly the white squares are on my ceiling, and more so how they are correct, incorrect, good, and bad. There's a lot of show and tell and a lot of honesty as I tell you that I installed these incorrectly. Well, as if the thumbnail entitled probably didn't already tell you, these are electric heaters for my workshop, and specifically they are infrared aluminum panel heaters. Back when I was designing and building my workshop, I got contacted from a company called HeatStorm, the same company that has the garage style heater that I've used for many years in my old shops and have already shown you a video on installing one in this shop as well. They reached out and said, hey, we've got some stuff, check it out. And I quickly latched on to these infrared heaters and said, you know what? That is pretty interesting. I've never seen such an application in a workshop. I've never had any experience with that style heat source. If you're willing to take a chance on me, let's give it a shot. Thankfully, they said yes. So come with me as we go back in time when I was still under construction of my workshop. I'll show you guys how I installed these heaters, how easy they were to hang on the ceiling, and give you a little bit of a blast from the past, so to speak, whenever I put these into place in my shop. So these particular heaters are very low profile, meaning there's not much room behind the heater, the mounting bracket, and the surface you mount them on. This is great that they are low profile. It is nice. They give a nice sleek look. They don't take up a lot of space. However, for my installation where I want to mount them to my ceiling, where I have existing wires poked through my finished ceiling covering, this posed a little bit of a challenge, to which I had to get creative and came up with a pretty good solution. Since the heaters come pre-wired with a US standard grounded plug, I decided why not stick with a tried and true method and wire up some of these grounded US standard heavy duty armored and insulated receptacles, or I guess the female version of the plug. This is a 15 amp 125 volt rated connector, very standard for the US, and the 15 amps on this matches the rated wiring, circuit size, and everything on down the line. So this is just as heavy duty as the wire in the ceiling, the breaker in my breaker box, and everything else in the mix. And there we have it. The connector is wired up, crimped nice and tight around the Romex wire, secured in nice and tight, ready for the heater. So here we are about 3 to 4 months after those heaters were installed. I have used them all through winter, and now it's my time to give you my real life experiences. What's the good, what's the bad, and how have these heaters worked out? First things first, let's talk about the bad, and that's on me. and that is the placement of my thermostats. So let's go over here, let me show them to you and tell you guys what happened. So right over here at my sub panel are my thermostats. These are designed for electric heat, but they are not designed for infrared heaters. There's apparently a special kind of thermostat you want to buy for infrared heaters, whereas these are just thermostatically controlled switches. These still work, but they operate off of air temperature. Infrared doesn't really affect air temperature. So, oops on my part. I should have got a different thermostat. The other thing that I did not do correctly is all four of them being right over here is not really smart, right? So we're heating spaces. We should have our thermostats in this space where they're going to be used, not over here in the corner where it was convenient to install, but not really correct for the zones. So honestly, when this thing was on, all of these would be running pretty much all the time until the whole building got to a point, then they would cut off. The thermostats themselves work fine. It's just a mixture of something that's designed for electric heat that heats the air versus something that doesn't heat the air and heats the person. All right, so you guys got to see them being installed, and here we are honestly about 4 months after the fact. I've been in my workshop for a while. We have gone all the way through winter with the heaters and more so just about into spring. So now I'm ready to explain, show and tell, and answer some questions, at least that I think you may have in a video at least, about these guys. So first and foremost, these heaters work perfect, exactly as advertised from the company. They were easy to install. They all arrived in perfect condition. They have worked great. I've had no issues at all out of them. They truly are silent heat source, so they're on. You don't hear a thing on camera, and they are perfectly as advertised. That's the good. The bad is honestly my fault. It is the application of such heaters and how they work, but they don't work, and my expectations didn't really match reality. So the way infrared heaters work is they heat objects, not air. So if you are right below one, just like we are right now, we are feeling the heat. Things are getting toasty. But if we take 2 steps to the right or left and get out of the direct path of the panel that's on the ceiling, we don't feel the heat so much. This means over the winter, I had nice, comfortable, warm and toasty spots, but if I went over to another area, it was cold. Again, not a problem with the heaters, a problem with the application. So in this space, I have such a large workshop and I move around it so much that for me to get the biggest benefit of infrared heaters, I probably should have put them on the wall where I'm in that zone of heat more often or had more to install. So from that standpoint, as I would work at my desk, which is over there right in the middle, that was a cold spot because I didn't have a heater right above me or pointing at me. However, over here at the lasers to the right or left, those were nice and cozy. So now with the power of hindsight, we can see that really where I picked for the heaters to be from an aesthetically pleasing, balancing out the ceiling look, didn't really line up with where I finally put my workstations. If I was to install heaters at this point, which is what I would recommend, get your layout first, add the heaters second. Obviously, one would be right above my desk, hands down. Also over here at the laser I use the most, and probably down there at the other desk that I have as far as a shipping station or a place where people may hang out. Alright, so to think about this in an application that might be applicable to you, an applicable application to you, if you don't have a space that is wide open as me, or if you have a space that's finished and you're looking to add heat in certain areas, I would highly recommend these heaters. They work great. They are super efficient. They work great even if your space is not insulated. I had these things on as I was literally finishing out the building, and it was perfect for zone heating. They are phenomenal in that usage. Something like this would also be great in a smaller size under your desk where it heats you and you don't have to care about the rest of the room. That's a perfect use. I see these installed a lot in bathrooms as well, and that totally makes sense. It's a slim profile heater, works well, on demand, perfect use. So again, how many times can I say it? I apply these incorrectly, but I did want to at least do this video for you guys, let you see them, that they do work, that they're great, and perhaps you can see this and think, all right, Sam was kind of a little bit of a goof doing what he did, but I can do better than Sam. And that honestly could be said about all of you, us, everyone but me. So rounding out this video, what is the future of the heaters in the Samcraft workshop? Honestly, I'm not sure right now, but I do have the thoughts of probably come late fall, whenever it's time to think about heat again, maybe moving them around, putting one above my desk, putting one above the shipping station, and just moving them to better locations. Mostly because these are 110 volt heaters, they are relatively low power draw, and it's something that I can use on demand and get better usage of heat for energy costs. I don't know. We'll see. You guys have to stick around until then to see what happens. Otherwise, if you got questions or comments, things about this video that I didn't cover good enough, leave me a comment down below. If you're interested in these heaters or anything from the company Heat Storm, which again is the same company that makes the garage heater that I installed right over my door, there is a link to their site down below as well. Otherwise, appreciate you guys watching as always. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the overly heated Samcraft workshop.